So who had more of an impact, Akira Toriyama or Stan Lee? These two are both absolute legends. Like, it almost feels a bit disrespectful to compare them both. They have made tremendous impact and can very much be considered the godfathers of their respective genres of comic book. So it's really hard to objectively gauge who had more of an impact. Toriyama has inspired so many different works that are in some ways subtle and in other ways obvious. Game franchises, manga heroes, and even comic book heroes have clearly took some level of inspiration from the works of Akira Toriyama. He has made a massive impact. But can we really argue that Stan Lee has had any less of an impact? The amount of characters and stories who've been inspired by Spider-Man, the Hulk, the Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Thor, both in American comics and in Japan, are plentiful. From my understanding, Spider-Man led to the Japanese Spider-Man, which led to Super Sentai, which led to the Power Rangers, which, coincidentally, you've got to remember was one of Saban's earlier attempts at localizing a property from Toei Animation. Their next attempt including, of course, the absolutely amazing DragonBall Z. It's quite crazy when you think that Saban at one point produced both Spider-Man the Animated Series and the localizations of Dragon Ball, which goes to show how these two legends are absolutely in the same league. I think the only way you can really start to make this an objective comparison is by focusing on how much each media franchise has grossed globally. Money isn't everything, of course not, but it's certainly an indicator of impact and an objective metric we can assess for the time being. The highest grossing media franchise of all time belongs to a Japanese franchise, and that's Pokemon, which shows that the market for Japanese media globally is certainly not limited. The MCU is the 9th highest grossing media franchise, which is absolutely nuts, and Spider-Man specifically is 11th place on its own. And when you think about it, this makes sense. Spider-Man is a phenomenon everywhere. There is no country that doesn't have love for Spider-Man. As of 2014, he is the most recognizable superhero in 57 countries. Madness. Pure madness. Dragon Ball is also a massive powerhouse of a franchise. It is the 36th highest grossing media franchise in the world. That is insanely popular. Outranking the likes of Super Mario, Jurassic Park, and even other comic book properties like Superman and other Stan Lee properties such as the X-Men, which is absolutely incredible. 32 billion to the MCU, 25 billion to Spider-Man, 14 billion to the Avengers, and Dragon Ball sits shy of 10 billion. Though they all bow down to Pokemon, and it's 88 billion. But who inspired a lot of Pokemon's designs? Akira Toriyama. Who helped inspire the monster hunting genre of games? Akira Toriyama. Who helped inspire multiple entries within these top 100 global media franchises, including Pokemon itself? Akira Toriyama. However, Stan Lee directly created or co-created 7 of the franchises on this list, grossing over $85 billion, which when combined still doesn't beat Pokemon, but it's pretty damn close. I think that level of impact is absolutely immeasurable. You can't even fathom the amount of influence Stan Lee must have had. Dragon Ball is a 10 billion universe, and Stan Lee's creations are an 85 billion multiverse. That's almost 10x more revenue globally. But again, there's more to this. Stan Lee had a bit of a head start. He published his first work in 1941, whilst Toriyama published his first work in 1978. Relativized, we'll have to wait 37 years to see how Toriyama compares. That's a very long time to be building your legacy. Rewinding a bit, when comparing Spider-Man and Dragon Ball, both of these franchises started as comic books, but branched out into toys, animated series, video games, clothing, collectible cards, animated cinematic movies, and other various collectibles from board games to novelty mugs. The only thing that Stan Lee has over Toriyama in terms of multimedia success is a live-action movie universe that doesn't suck balls. Interestingly, as the career gap between Toriyama and Stan Lee is 37 years, we can make some crazy predictions. The first, comparatively lackluster Spider-Man film was released in 1977. Dragon Ball Evolution, an undisputed lackluster flop, was released in 2009. That gap is 32 years, which is pretty close to the 37-year career difference. The first globally successful live-action Spider-Man movie was made in 2002, 25 years after the original was released. So if we were to equate their legacies, the first globally successful Dragon Ball movie will be released in 2034, and its success will rocket strap the story of Dragon Ball to millions of more people around the globe. Keep an eye out. I'm not saying I'll be playing Goku, but I'll be playing Goku. Ultimately, I think the impact of both of these men cannot accurately be measured. What we know for sure is that both of these minds have revolutionized not only their respective industries, but multiple other industries within their captivating stories and all-powerful characters that inspired millions and millions of people all across the globe to fight for a better life. Two of the greatest of all time who have inspired countless souls to be the best that they can be and to use their power for the greater good. Akira Toriyama, rest in peace. Stan Lee, rest in peace. Thank you for the life-changing works.